Okay, so in this video I'm going to talk through all the Dahlias that I bought for 2022. I bought about 20. Last year I think I had about 60 tubers, but not all of them grew. I had a few that had some diseases, I had some that just died, I had some that I put in the ground, looked perfectly fine and just didn't grow. The tubers were fine, like when I dug them up they were solid, but just nothing grew no matter what I did. I had some gall on some of them, and I don't know whether that was from the supplier or the compost. The supplier checked their stock and the rest of it seemed fine, so I'm assuming it's one of the bags of compost that I bought obviously had gall in it, because I had Dahlias at my house and none of them had gall, so it must have come from somewhere external. So anyway, I'm gonna start by going through each Dahlia and just I'll include a few photos, and I'll just describe it a little bit, and yeah, we'll see what I'm adding to the collection. And then also I made a terrible mistake last year when I dug up all my Dahlias. I didn't label anything. I didn't have time. It was one of those, it was a complete rush. So all my Dahlia tubers that I've had this year, that I've saved from last year, they're just gonna have to go in the ground and we'll see what comes up. So I stored them over winter in just crates in a shed, and they've done fine. There's a couple that had a few tubers that went a bit rotten, but I cut them off and it's fine. I only lost one full tuber. The whole thing just went rotten, but apart from that, I've had quite a good success rate. I'm also going to do a video. I left about 3 tubers in the ground, and so I'm going to do a video sort of exposing them and seeing how they've fared, whether they're still alive, etc. So yeah, let's get on with the Dahlias that I bought this year. Okay, and to start we have Gingersnap. This one I've heard really good things about as a cut flower. Apparently the stems are really straight and super sturdy. It's a water lily type, and the blooms are about 3.5 inches, and it's just got this really gorgeous sort of bright orangey yellow center, and it fades out to caramel. But like I said, I've heard really good things about this one. Okay, and next up is Breakout, and I know that this one's become really popular, especially with brides and wedding bouquets, etc. And it's described as having creamy blush and pink tinged flowers with buttercream overtones, and it looks, to me, it looks very similar to a cafe au lait, only it's got like a more of a yellowy center, and the petals and the style of it is a little bit different, and apparently the flowers, they're fully double flowers, and they grow between 8 to 10 inches, so quite a large one. But as well, apparently it's a really prolific producer, so it's, from each tuber you should get a lot of flowers, hopefully. I'm excited for this one. Okay, and then we have Hubert. This is a ball Dahlia, and it's quite a new variety, and it's described as having orange red petals with lemon cream tips. And yeah, this is a bit, I don't usually go for reds, but I really liked the look of this one, the fact that it had that sort of, it's almost like a border of yellow and cream around each petal, and I love ball Dahlias. They're my favourite thing now. I mean, I do have other flowers that are my top favourite, but out of Dahlias, the ball Dahlias are my favourite. Okay, and the next one is Natalie. It's a Pom Pom, however it is described as being a large Pom Pom. So more sort of leaning towards the ball side, but not quite as large as a ball dahlia. It's described as being a vibrant crimson red, but I think it's like a deep crimson. Each flower head is 3 inches across, and it's a really prolific producer again, so lots of flowers per plant. So yeah, a really good one for cutting, hopefully. Okay, and after that we have another ball dahlia. This is Joey Winnie, and it's classed as a small ball dahlia. Apparently again it's a really good one for cutting. It's got really strong stems, and it's described as having a blend of pinks with earthy overtones. Yeah, I've got quite a few ball dahlias this year from what you'll see, and I find the ball dahlias are really great in bouquets. They hold their own a bit more than the other varieties. Water lilies are also really good. I found that some of the bigger ones, the dinner plate dahlias, they're a bit more tricky, whereas the balls, I mean, I had some of them in a vase and they lasted like nearly 3 weeks. So yeah, they're definitely worth growing. Okay, and so then we have October Sky, which is a water lily type, and it has flowers that are 10 to 15 centimeters across. And it's gorgeous, and it's described as having a lemon heart that fades to peachy pink with white tips. And again, it's another one that looks like it's almost got a little white border around the petals, which I love. And then it also says that it can go more of a salmon colour as it gets older, or with hotter weather, so more salmon than the pink. Okay, and this one is Peaches and Cream, not to be confused with Peaches and Cream. They're two very different looking dahlias. So this one is a medium decorative, and it's described as having orange and apricot tones with white, and yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, it's quite vibrant. It's got yellows with quite dark orange streaks near the tips, and then really bright white tips. It's something that I normally probably wouldn't go for, but I grew Seattle last year, which was gorgeous, and it had a kind of similar colour palette and similar sort of patterning, and I loved it. So I thought I'd give this one a go and see if I love this as much as what I love Seattle. Okay, and this is one that was new for 2021. And it is a medium decorative, and it's called Princess Erica, and it's I'm hoping that the colours in it are exactly like the photos, because it's gorgeous. It's this yellow heart with orange and pink shading, but quite vibrant as it gets to the tips. So yeah, another one that I'm really excited for this year. Okay, and so the first dinner plate dahlia that I've bought this year is Emery Pool Striped, and apparently it's meant to be a really giant dinner plate, and it has these gorgeous light pinky tones with these deep pink stripes through it. I didn't do too well with my dinner plates last year. They grew, but they didn't grow very big. So considering this one is well known for growing huge flowers, I've got high hopes that I might be able to get some, really large dinner plates this year. I know they're not like the best for cutting, because how do you include them into a bouquet because they're so large, but just for myself I would like to grow at least a couple of like large dinner plate dahlias. Okay, and here we have Tricolor, or double Tricolor, I've seen some places call it, and it's a decorative. The flowers are about 12 centimeters, and it has this gorgeous sort of purpley yellow heart that fades out to pink and then purple. The only thing I've seen is that it's quite a small dahlia, and that some people have said that the stems could be a bit longer for cutting, but we'll see, because I had plenty of plants last year that people said, oh, they're a bit short for cutting, and I was still able to get really good stems off of them. So I'm excited to see if this one will work or not. Okay, and this one is Garden Desire, which I believe is a medium decorative. The flowers get up to 4 inches, and it's described as having a blend of salmon and yellow, turning more of a prairie colour towards the centre, and to me it looks like kind of like a blend of Cafe au Lait and Breakout, and I think it would go well with either of those in the bouquet. Next is Colorado Classic, and this one is a large decorative, and it's described as having pink and lilac petals with a white centre. I really like the look of this one, and the petals, they've got like almost a slightly cactusy look to it. I want to say they're not it's definitely not a water lily or anything like that. They've got a kind of a curvature to the petals. Okay, and we have Embassy, which is a ball dahlia, and it is described as having shades of rich burgundy to purple with a silver undertone, which gives it, which you see on the underside of the petal, and it gives it a really nice sort of depth of colour and a bit of contrast, and again another ball, which I love. Okay, and this one I chose because of the shape of the petals. It's called Gits Perfection, and if you look, the ends of the petals have these tips that kind of, it goes inwards and then out like a little spike, which I love. I love anything that has like unusual petals, and so that's why I chose this. I mean, it's described as having a soft, delicate pink, which blends to white in the centre, and sometimes they have little white tips, and it produces large 10-inch blooms as well. Okay, this one is a tiny Pom Pom Dahlia, and it's quite small. I don't have the actual size, but I think from memory they're probably about 2 inches. And it's described as having a deep, rich burgundy colour, and I'm excited for these because I saw someone grow them last year, and I thought they just made the most amazing like little pop of colour, and seeing them in real life, they were just they were gorgeous. The colour of them, you know, photographs really get it spot on with this one. And here is another one that I chose because of the petals. This is called Deep Impact, and it's described as having fringed petals that twist and curl, and it's like at the very ends they're kind of, rather than being a point, they're kind of forked, and they kind of like twist and curl around, and I think it looks lovely. It makes it look kind of like frothy, like a wool pom-pom almost. It has 4-inch blooms, and they're described as yellow, while the outer petals are orange or an orangey red. So a yellow centre, and then it fades out to orangey red, but I think it's kind of like an orangey salmon colour almost. Okay, this is another one I'm actually really excited for. So it's called Bantaling, and it is a pom pom. It's a tiny pom pom. It's only 5.5 centimeters. It's really popular for cut flowers. Apparently has really strong, long stems. And look at the orange colour. I love this. This is so amazing. And the reason I'm really excited is I had quite a few lovely orange and red chrysanthemums last year, and I didn't really have anything orange to go with it, and so I just thought that this is the perfect colour to match those chrysanthemums. Okay, and this one is fairly new, and I'm going to let the photos do most of the talking. I mean, look at it. It is absolutely stunning. It's a water lily type, and the flowers are about 4 inches, and it's gorgeous. It's described as having salmony pink, creamy yellow petals with a dark red reverse a margin, and that's the thing, it's the margin around it makes each petal again look as if it's got like this dark red border, which is just something I don't know what it is, but I'm really attracted to that on the flowers, where it's got like the border along the petals. And the second to last is Star's favourite. Now this is the only cactus dahlia that I'm growing. I wasn't really a fan of the cactus dahlias when I looked at them last year, but then I grew from seed this sort of semi cactus single dahlia, and oh my gosh, it was gorgeous, it was stunning. And when I put it into a bouquet, I was like, wow, it actually really makes a huge impact. So I'm going for this one. It's got a creamy white heart that then fades out to pink, and it's just those typical curved and twisted cactus petals. I think it's a large cactus, so yeah, we'll see how that goes. I might love it, but I might hate it. And last but most certainly not least is Holland Festival. I grew one similar to this last year. I think it was a Keeta, but it was red with white tips, whereas this is salmon orange with white tips. It's my second or third, I think, dinner plate dahlia that I've bought this year, and I'm excited for this one. I loved the Keeta, it looked really amazing in bouquets, and again I'm hoping this might match quite well with my orange chrysanthemums. Okay, and that is it. So thank you for watching. I will do an update video once the dahlias arrive, probably do an unboxing video along with my chrysanthemums. They might arrive at the same time, I don't know, and we'll see how that plays out. And then I'll do an update video when I've got them in the ground, and hopefully this year I'll be more on the ball and I'll be able to take photos of all of my dahlias and post them up, and you know, put them in bouquets so that everyone can see, you know, how they look, and you know, and all of that. Okay, thanks for watching.